And just like last year, I've developed an appreciation towards Apple's budget smartphones. Many of you know that I daily drive my iPhone SE from 2020, of course, but as somebody who does normally prefer Android, appreciating cheap iPhones isn't something immediately afforded to me per se. And last year, I reviewed the iPhone XR at around the same time where it was just about to be replaced by the iPhone 11, and many of you seem to really like this phone. So today, I will be doing something pretty similar here, where I take a look back at the iPhone 11 and what it does so well in 2020. Before the new ones come out, of course. So let's go ahead and dive right in. For more great content just like this, and just make sure to subscribe and then turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss any uploads. Also leave a like and a comment down below with all of your thoughts on this video. And while you're at it, I always leave affiliate links down below in the description as well. But make sure that you check out Lukrembo so you can find the best deals on all of that tech that you're shopping for. It's a simple browser extension that helps you make the best purchasing decision. And lastly, don't forget to check out my merch store if you're into some monochrome clothing like everything I'm wearing right here. So with that said, links to everything down below. And the exterior design consists of glass for the front and the back of this phone, along with the aluminum railings along the sides. You're also going to find the famous two giant cameras on this phone, and you're going to get a single speaker unit at the bottom, a lightning port, a second grill, but it's not going to be a speaker by any means. And then you're going to find the second speaker on the earpiece itself, actually. You will also find the volume rocker and mute switch on the left, and find the sleep wake button and SIM card slot on the right. This phone is still beautiful to this day, and it actually looks pretty good in this color, even if it's not exactly my taste, but yeah, like it works okay. And this iPhone features a 6.1-inch 1792 by 828 IPS liquid retina display that is essentially going to be a pretty low resolution screen, but it is still pretty amazing. It's pretty hard to distinguish this one from many of the Android phones that do have a 1080p screen, because it does depend on the quality of the panel. And this panel is of a very high quality, and it is just going to be of the Apple standard, and naturally speaking, they know how to make really good displays. And watching content on it is great, and so is gaming, and this is going to be thanks to its very colorful display, and incredibly bright. However, it's only a 60Hz screen, when my Pixel 4, for example, happens to have a 90Hz screen, and those differences are very noticeable from day-to-day use when you're switching over, because 90Hz just feels a lot smoother, even if the hardware on the iPhone is more powerful than the one on my Google Pixel 4. So I do wish that it did have a higher refresh rate for that reason, but this is still a pretty great screen for what it is. And now, the speakers do not hold up to 2020 standards. I get that Apple had to cut some corners to keep the price down, but it's got a similar speaker setup where there is a single speaker at the bottom and the earpiece too, just like my Pixel 4. However, these don't get nearly as loud. So go ahead and have a listen. This is exactly what I mean, so let's go ahead and actually dive in, even though what I will be mentioning here is barely scratching the surface of the excitement around it. For more great content just like this, and just make sure to subscribe and then turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss any uploads. Also leave a like and a comment down below. In terms of specs, this iPhone features an Apple A13 Bionic chip, which is a 6-core CPU, with their own in-house GPU, 4 gigs of RAM, and 64 gigs of storage with options of up to 256 gigs, along with a 3110 mAh battery. And on the back, you're going to find a 12 megapixel f1.8 rear-facing camera that is going to be just the wide-angle portion. The other one is also going to be a 12 megapixel camera, but this one's going to have an aperture of f2.4 instead, and this is going to be the ultra-wide angle camera. Now on the front-facing side, you still get a 12 megapixel camera, and in this case, you still get full 4K recording at up to 60 FPS, and for 1080p, you actually get 120 frames per second on the front-facing camera. That is absolutely impressive. In terms of specs, this thing absolutely crushes it, in my opinion. And so, let us go ahead and talk about the cameras. The rear-facing cameras look beautiful, and it seems like Apple is now leaning a little bit more towards more vibrant colors in their images, since everything just looks so bright and well, pretty. Images are incredibly sharp, even in low light, where the iPhone is still going strong when it comes to handling these types of scenarios. I can't complain at all about these cameras. They're honestly just great, and especially the ultra-wide lens, as it still retains its sharpness, even if it is a bit distorted at this focal length, obviously, since it is a wide-angle lens. Honestly, this is a really great combo, and I wish I had a wide-angle lens on my Pixel, but I don't. And now, the front-facing camera is one of the most powerful ones I've tested so far too. You actually get a very sharp image for the most part, and portrait shots look great in my opinion, and sometimes it catches some of the things behind you and can potentially miss tiny spots for blurring or blur at the wrong spot here and there, but it handles portrait mode quite beautifully in my opinion the vast majority of the time. Like, these are just isolated incidences. This is a selfie camera done right, and I wish that more manufacturers implemented this kind of quality on here. Even video quality is fantastic. And even in terms of gaming, I was still surprised. Just playing the demo to Mortal Kombat, like the first battle when you first start off the game, performs incredibly well, and it was just super consistent. Everything was very smooth, very nice, like it was just a very proper gaming experience. And I would absolutely use this for like hardcore smartphone gaming if I cared about hardcore smartphone gaming, but I don't. However, if you are, this handles it beautifully. And battery life is going to be another massive win for this phone. The battery isn't the biggest in the market for sure, but it's not that small either. And not to mention that thanks to the relatively low resolution screen, it can easily last me a full day and more. Not 2 days, but with frugal or not so intensive use, it can last you a very good while, so hey, I've had pretty good luck with this phone too. However, this phone is not perfect, and at $700, Apple was going to cut some corners here. There's obviously not a headphone jack, and that just can't be helped, it'll never come back. And the screen is quite beautiful, but side by side with my Pixel, I can tell that it's not quite as nice, and I don't love that it's still a 60Hz panel either. The speakers are mediocre at best, even if they do have a stereo setup. Also, the buttons felt a little bit too soft for my taste. They aren't very satisfying to press, which reminds me a little too much of a cheap phone. This isn't a cheap phone. This is still a lot of money. You're still spending hundreds of dollars on this phone. So the least that you should be able to get are satisfying to press buttons. Instead, they just look nice. And so while there were some compromises with this device, Apple still delivered on the essentials here. And for those who wanted the iPhone 11 but simply couldn't swallow that price tag, which is a very hefty one, this phone is perfectly viable. And when the new ones finally start coming out, I'm sure that you will find the 11 for some amazing prices, so I would keep an eye out for those as well. I think that this phone does a lot of things right for the price, so I feel very comfortable recommending it as it is. And if you're interested in purchasing this phone, then I'll be making sure to leave affiliate links down to Amazon in the description. And you're also going to find a link to Luster, which is going to be a browser extension that is going to help you find sales all across the web. And it's not going to be intrusive by any means. It is simply a tool to help you look for different types of devices and help you make comparisons and that sort of thing. And it just kind of shows you like the most comprehensive rankings of like, hey, like most people happen to prefer this device over this other one, and it just helps you in your buying or in your purchasing journey per se. So don't waste any more time, go ahead and download it today because it is a fantastic browser extension. And now with that said, if you use any of my links, I get a small commission, and that helps me out quite a bit. Also, do make sure to follow me on Twitch, where I like to stream every Friday and Saturday, and every time I do a microphone review, I like to test it out on stream too, and those tend to be pretty fun. Lately, I've been doing more just chatting streams, so hey, like, I would love to have you down there and just have a conversation, answer any questions you might have. And with that said, do not forget to follow me on both Instagram and Twitter. Those are obligatory as well. But with that said, thank you so much for watching, and this has been Francisco from Tech Summit, signing out. Have a good one, and enjoy.